Hello everyone and welcome to day number 4 for the Highway to Hell Gas vs. Electric Car Tournament. We have the first group here. It is a Porsche, a Corvette, a BMW, and a Tesla. We've actually seen a small handful of Teslas now. Let's see if this one can do any different. So far they already have the lead and they're going into that wider turn, which does slow most racers down, but I think they're actually going faster here. Meanwhile, the other 3 racers are relatively staying close together, and the Tesla has that tight turn, allowing them to get an even further lead. And they're just leaving everyone in the dust so far. They're coming into this final stretch. They start going sideways, but they were able to at least go backwards a little bit, allowing them to finish first. But that was a bit dangerous, because the BMW was speeding up towards the end, almost catching up, really. See, the Tesla's performance with that slide was a 14.26, which is really good. Had they stayed perfectly straight, they might have been able to beat the record so far, which was actually done by another Tesla with a time of 14.007. Okay, going into heat number 2 now. The Tesla, Porsche, Corvette, and BMW is the order now. Let's see if that makes a difference for any of our racers. Well, not too much of a difference. The Tesla is once again in the lead, this time taking the inside turn there. And they already are leaving everyone in the dust. However, they do have this big turn here, and they do lose a decent amount of speed, but they were already far enough ahead where that doesn't really make much of a difference. Can he stay straight going onto this final stretch? No, he can't. Goes sideways a little bit, bounces off the walls a couple times, but still finishes in first. Wait, is that a new record? I can't tell. It was a 14.0 something. 14.07, not quite a record, but very, very close. So the Tesla already has 2 wins under their belt, 1 more, and they'll automatically move on to the final round here. Now, I know I'm putting a lot of attention on the Tesla right now, but the Tesla is giving good reason to give them attention, because so far they've almost broken the fastest time record twice, and that's after they started swerving and bouncing off the walls. If they can stay perfectly straight, I am fully confident that they can not only break the fastest time, but also break the 14-second mark, which other racers have been close to doing, but just are shy of it. Now, as I say this, the Tesla once again finishes, so he does solidify his final spot position. What happens now is up to the other 3 racers, and that was a time of 14.55, still a good time, but a little bit slower than his other 2 attempts. At this point, it's between the Corvette and BMW, so let's see what happens. Unfortunately, the Porsche is already out, but the BMW and the Corvette are just 1 point difference. So really, it could just boil down to who finishes in front of the other. But if neither one of them finishes in first, then it could lead to a tiebreaker that we have to do, which would be the first one in this league so far. Right now, though, the Tesla is once again in front, but the Corvette is actually not too far behind. He does drift a little bit behind the Tesla, causing him to not really be able to catch up, but he does finish in front of the BMW. Is that going to allow him to move on, or is that going to be a tiebreaker? We'll have to see. And the Tesla has been fairly consistent this entire time, usually not going much higher than 14.5 seconds. And with that performance, the Corvette moves on, and the BMW is out. So going into Heat 1 of the second race group here, we have the Kia, the Dodge, the Rimac, and the Audi. So far, they kind of stay neck and neck, but these turns can make all the difference. Right now, it's the Kia that has the lead, but the Rimac and the Audi are quickly making up that ground. In fact, it looks like the Kia just lost a lot of that space there. The Rimac and the Audi are now out in front, going back and forth as they go into this final turn. The Audi goes backwards, and they're right side by side with each other, and the Rimac sticks his nose out in front of the Audi to make sure that he gets the win. Not often seen in this league so far, but it's still a very reliable maneuver if you can at least get the nose out in front of your opponent. If it doesn't work, it could be very dangerous, but here it did work, it paid off, And it is the Rimac, I believe, that gets that first win. Now, the Dodge did not do so well there, but maybe they just had to slow down a little bit on one of those turns. All right, heat number 2, everyone has switched lanes. Let's see how this changes things up. And off they go. Oh, the Dodge seems to be struggling a bit today. I guess it is not really the best one for a track like this, so I'm not sure what they were thinking here. But maybe they'll pull something out that we don't expect. For the moment, though, the Rimac has the lead with the Audi right behind him once again. These two must have some sort of grudge towards each other because they are going neck and neck constantly, fighting for that top spot. And this time it's the Audi that wins, with the Kia finishing in third once again, and the Dodge did finish a little bit faster, but based off what we've seen so far, it's not going to be anything good for them. A 14.7, as I've mentioned before, a sub 15 is good, but I am fully confident that there will be a car that breaks the 14-second mark. We just haven't seen it yet. All right, going into the final 2 heats of this race group, it's really between the Rimac and the Audi at this point, although the Kia does have a shot, but they need to start doing well, because if they don't do well in this race, their chances to move on drop significantly. And as I say that, they are keeping up with the other two, and they have the tighter turn, allowing them to gain a little bit of a lead. But the question is, can they hold on to it, especially going into this final stretch? With the Audi right behind them, they're spinning out of control, correcting themselves, and the Kia does actually finish in first. This is something they desperately needed in order to stay in this competition, but unfortunately the one thing that's still consistent is the Dodge finishing a bit farther behind the other 3. At a 14.76, so far these racers are starting to get a little bit faster overall. Let's see if someone can actually beat the record in this group. So going into this final heat now, it's the Kia that really made that surprise win there, allowing them to stay in this competition, and now he, as well as the Audi and the Rimac, are all within a point or 2 of each other. It could really depend now on who finishes first in regards to those 3. But I would not be surprised, since they're so close, that this could end with a tiebreaker for one of the positions in the finals. Right now the Rimac is falling behind again, and it's once again the Kia and the Audi out in front. They just keep spinning, and this time the Audi finishes in first. But the Kia does finish in second. Is that going to be enough to take the spot in the finals away from the Rimac? Did the Dodge not finish? Oh yeah! The Dodge actually got stuck this time. They were not able to finish that last race, which at this point is just salt on the wound, because they did finish in last the other 3 times, so they would have loved to at least finish altogether, but unfortunately they couldn't. And we actually do have a tiebreaker on our hands. It's going to be between the Kia and the Rimac. With that win that the Kia had earlier, it really saved their bacon, but they are not out of the woods yet. They will now have a one-on-one best of 3, I believe, with this Rimac, and whoever finishes twice ahead of the other will move on to the finals alongside the Audi. They're pretty much neck and neck, showing that they're both formidable racers, but the Rimac actually pulls away as I say that. He does flip around and starts going sideways, stops right at the finish line, but I think he got far enough that he had the win. Even if he didn't, he had blocked the path almost completely, keeping the Kia from being able to finish in first. So the first race, if not the only race, goes to the Rimac, excuse me. But they are doing a second race, so it looks like it will be a 2 out of 3. The Kia needs to finish first in order to keep their dreams of winning this tournament alive. Otherwise, the Rimac will be the one joining the Audi. Going into this decisive turn, the Rimac does have the lead, so the Kia is in trouble. They will need to pull something out of here real fast. And so far they're doing that. They go into the final turn bumping into each other, but in doing so the Kia lost a lot of momentum, and they were not able to catch up to the Rimac. And as a result, the Rimac will be joining... Yeah, I cannot talk today. The Rimac will be joining the Audi in the finals alongside our previous 2 racers. So here we go. Alright, Heat 1 of the finals is about to begin, and we have 4 very formidable racers here. The standout, I would arguably say, is the Tesla, as they have become the closest to breaking the speed record so far of about 14.007 set by a previous Tesla model. And I really think this one has the capability to do it, because they've gotten close twice already. And they're pretty far ahead of the other racers, and they're keeping pretty straight. If they can stay that way, they might actually break the 14-second mark. Are they going to do it? Let's take a look. It looks like they did. It's hard to see the exact time from this angle, but they definitely broke 14 seconds. Unfortunately, one of the racers actually did not finish. Let's see how that happened in just a moment. But when you're in the finals, not finishing at all is not a good sign. Let's see the exact time. A 13.7495. I'll have to try and remember that exact number. But we finally have someone who broke the 14-second mark, and that goes to this Tesla racer. What wonderful driving. Heat number 2, the Tesla with that speed is showing that they are most likely to win the finals if they can remain that consistent, which they've been shown to be able to do. So these other 3 racers definitely have their work cut out for them, but they are staying close behind. Can the turns really help them? To some degree, one of the racers is actually right next to them. In fact, they took the lead, clash on that final turn, and the Tesla's losing control. But they do manage to stay in second as they all pile up one after another. A very interesting finish. And it's only hard a little bit to keep track of which one is which because they're all similar colors. But a 14.57 is still nothing to sneeze at. Alright, so that win was definitely something that the Audi needed because they didn't even finish in that last race, which is a bit of a shame for them. However, that win definitely kept their hopes alive. If they can keep a little more consistent now, they might still have a shot. With that though, the Rimac does have a slight lead over the rest, but the Audi's right behind him. In fact, he doesn't necessarily take the lead. In fact, it's the Tesla and the Corvette that come out in front, and the Tesla takes the lead. Can he hold onto it going into this final turn? He does. Oh wait, but he stops. He stops right on the track. And the Audi takes the win, but the Tesla is then pushed forward by the Rimac, allowing him to at least finish in second. That just goes to show that anything can happen, and this time it's the Corvette that doesn't finish the race. We've actually had a small handful of times now where somebody just skids sideways and comes to a stop right before the finish line. Sometimes they get pushed along, sometimes they don't. Now this is definitely a surprising turn of events. Despite that first race where they didn't finish, the Audi has 10 points while the Tesla has 11, meaning if the Audi finishes in first, he has a good shot to take the ultimate win away from the Tesla, who currently holds now the fastest time we've seen on this track so far. Saying that though, the Tesla does have a big lead. As we've seen though, he doesn't always remain perfectly straight, which can result in him stopping on the track and somebody taking that lead from him, but this time that does not happen. And they come in one after another after that, but because of that final finish, it is the Tesla who will move on, while also holding the record for the fastest time. In fact, I think he just did it again. I could be wrong, but it's really close. The Tesla managed to win with the fastest time and completes the first half of our roster. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on more Races and Fun.